When people talk about business success, you'll often hear the same words: vision, courage, luck. And sure, those things matter, but history tells a different story. The real winners weren't just bold, they weren't just lucky. They could see what others missed, and what gave them sight was data. Let's start in post-war Japan. The country was devastated, factories flattened, supplies short. The world looked at Japan and said, cheap junk, not worth worrying about. Then comes W. Edwards Deming, an engineer, a statistician, not flashy, not a salesman, just a man obsessed with measurement. He told the Japanese manufacturers one simple thing: measure everything. Don't rely on inspection at the end. Don't wait until something is broken. Track it, learn from it, improve it. Toyota listened. They logged every defect, every delay, every wasted motion. They tested small changes, measured the results, and tried again and again. Fast forward 20 years, Japan is exporting cars the world can't get enough of. High quality, low cost, reliable. Detroit is left scratching its head. Japan went from cheap junk to the global gold standard because Deming gave them sight, and their eyes were the data. Scotland's got its own tradition of seeing through numbers. Take James Watt in the 1760s. The new Cummins steam engine was already out there puffing away. Most people saw it as noisy, spooky, expensive to run, but that was just the way it was. Not to Watt, he measured the thing. He logged how much steam escaped, how much heat vanished, where the power was slipping through the cracks, and from that measurement came the separate condenser. A simple but brilliant innovation. It doubled efficiency. Suddenly steam power wasn't a novelty, it was a revolution. Factories, trains, ships, the whole industrial revolution riding on Watt's insight. Not because he was the only man with vision, because he was a man with measurements. And then there's Andrew Carnegie, a lad from Dunfermline, who made it big in America. Carnegie's competitors all had furnaces, they all had ore, they all had ambition, but they didn't have his ledger. Carnegie tracked everything: the cost of every ton of ore, the output of every furnace, the efficiency of every process. When the numbers didn't add up, he fixed the process. While rivals ran steel mills, Carnegie was effectively running a spreadsheet 100 years before spreadsheets existed. That obsession with data built not just a company, but an empire, and it made Carnegie the richest man in the world. But not all breakthroughs come from factories. In 1928, Alexander Fleming, Ayrshire-born, was working in his lab in London. One of his petri dishes was spoiled by mold. Most people would have tossed it in the bin, start again, move on, but Fleming didn't. He stopped, he looked closer, he took notes, and he noticed something extraordinary. The mold was killing bacteria. From that single, messy, inconvenient data point came penicillin, the first antibiotic, a discovery that went on to save millions of lives. The world might call that luck, but luck only works if you see it, and you only see it when you're looking carefully enough. And of course, there's whiskey. We romanticize it, don't we? Peat, smoke, oak casts, highland streams. But the truth is, whiskey became Scotland's global gift because of data. Distillers like Johnny Walker and William Grant weren't relying on luck. They were logging everything: fermentation times, temperatures, yields. They weren't just making whiskey, They were making consistent whiskey. That's why a bottle tasted the same in 1890 as it did in 1900. Consistency built trust. Trust built brands, and brands built an industry that conquered the world. Tradition gave the story, but data built the legacy. When you look at these examples, Deming in Japan, Watt with his engines, Carnegie with his ledgers, Fleming in the lab, the whiskey distillers with their notebooks, the pattern is crystal clear. Vision without data is blindness. Data turns instinct into insight. It turns the stories into empires. Business data isn't paperwork. It isn't admin. It's sight. And without it, you're blind. But with it, you can see the path to success. So this is exactly why I developed Trade Insight, which you can see on your screen right now. So basically, I wanted complete control over my own business, and my business, steel fabrication, isn't any different from many other businesses out there, which have employees and projects to control. So customers, suppliers, health and safety. So I basically wanted to use the app to track projects, what was making me money, what was costing me money, what efficiencies I could have. So this is just a quick overview. It's maybe something that you want to try, and if you do, you can download it on the App Store. So if we look at employees, first of all, you've got your various employees in the business, and we can get information, basic information about those employees, what their hourly rate is. The 45 will be their hourly rate, and that will be in whatever currency you work to. In the UK, it's obviously pounds, but it could be dollars or any other currency, euros. So we can modify the different hourly rate for each person within the business. We can check the timesheets to see what jobs they've been working on. We can check the holidays. In this particular instance, Callum doesn't have any holidays, so we can quickly assign a holiday to Callum if we want. This is a Sunday that I'm recording, so let's just say tomorrow he wanted the day off, just one day in total, which we can approve. Assign it. We can also add that holiday to our calendar, so we can keep track of all the employees' holidays on our own iOS calendar as well. We just need to give the app full access in order to do so. And there, the holiday has been assigned. So it's under the reserved holiday just now because he's not actually used it. Once it's been used, it'll appear as a used holiday. So projects, here you can see, we can quickly see what projects we have on the go just now, who's the project owner, what we need to do in order to complete that project. We can bring up a list of tasks that we've already done or tasks that we've still to do, or we can add new tasks, delete ones that are already complete if we want to, or maybe we want to just keep a note of those tasks. We can quickly enter the hours that an employee's been working in that specific project that day. Here we've got one for steel pipe supports. So click on the timer. We can select all the employees that have been working on that job in that particular day, how many hours they've been working on it. Let's say 8 hours, and save that. And that'll then get recorded in our timesheets. So we can quickly see what the most worked on project is for everyone, how many kind of hours that project's taken up. Or we can drill down and select an employee. Let's select Chloe, for instance. We can see where Chloe's been working, what projects she's mainly been working on. And if we want to drill down further, we can see exactly the amount of hours and when, what date she was working on what particular project. Health and safety, obviously very important in trade businesses. So I wanted that to be able to quickly do a risk assessment or a method statement. So we can quickly create a method statement or risk assessment for any particular project. Quickly fill in the details of what location, just quickly doing for reference. I can speed this up a little bit. Now you can come to a list of hazards that you can quickly select, or we've got a public database. You can add from the public database if the hazard's not listed, or you can create your own hazard. Here are hazards that we've got in the public database. So you can choose them yourself, or like I say, create your own hazard. So let's just say this project had working at height and hot work, some crane operations. So we can quickly create the risk assessment. And as you can see on the risk assessment, it produces a quick risk assessment for you, for your business, for your client, and to make sure that all your workers are going to be working safely on that project. And they can also sign on to the risk assessment so that they can confirm that they've read it and they understand all the risks involved and how to minimise your risks. So using the power of the iPad, you can save that to files, or first of all, you can mark it up. You can allow your employees to come on and sign just to say that they've read it and they're happy with it. But my pen's not charged just now, so that's not going to work. So we can save the file. What I normally do is just save it with today's date. And I know after I save it with today's date, then we can just create a PDF method statement as well, just by adding various tasks in. If you've got a template, you can select that template first of all. Let's create just a quick method statement. But first you maybe want to barrier off the location to prevent unauthorized access. So you can quickly change that task just by doing a long press and changing it to say task number 2 and create that method statement quickly. Obviously you'd have more than 3 steps on it, it's just quickly to show you. And again, you can get all the guys to sign on to it that are working on the project, so they've read that method statement and they understand it and they're going to adhere to it. Again, we can just save it with today's date. Just makes it easier for you to find, and then just email it to your customer and keep it on your record as well, should anything happen. So we can also obviously create our supplier list and keep our suppliers all in one place and our customer details all in one place too. And we can quickly do some cost analysis to see what our estimates are for that project and whether we're recording a profit or a loss for that particular project. If it was a loss, those values would show up in red, so you can know where a particular project is failing. You can also raise purchase orders, which will be assigned to the particular project, and you can save receipts too by uploading, say, a PDF receipt. I don't have any one receipt here just now, but that's something I could show at a later date. You can record indirect expenses because obviously when it comes to a business, you'll have certain expenses like your business rates that you'll need to know the cost of those rates over the year, and then it's something that you can use to work out your overheads. How much should you be charging per employee in order for your business to run with profit? So that can quickly be done if you would just input business rates. Let's say the amount you pay maybe be 10,000 per year. These will probably recur annually. And in this particular case, I'm recording in pounds, but you could record it in another currency. I thought I'd put in 10,000 and not £10. £10,000 per year. We can quickly add a new project. We can assign a project owner to it. We can choose a customer, project title. Let's say we're doing a new plant room. When's the project due? 10th of December. Many hours are we going to work in that project in total? Let's just say it's going to have 1,200 hours. The labour cost is going to be 65,000. Services would be things like if you need to hire from a hire company, for instance, a MUP, mobile elevated platform. You'd have a service cost in for that. Let's say we're going to allow 1,200, well, be a little bit more probably, 2,500 over the project. Materials that we're going to use will be about 35,000, and other costs as well that maybe not necessarily come into the service costs or the labour cost. So that's as quickly as what we need to do just to create a new project. You can see it there now created as a new plant room. We could add certain tasks that we've got to get done in order to produce that plant room. So you can see this is just letting you know 50% of your tasks have been done, but the overall project could have a different timeline, and right now we're saying it's 0% complete. Hopefully you find that useful, and as an introduction, one thing I forgot to mention was in the settings, you can set whether you want to add your own sales tax to projects or not. So in the UK, we've got value added tax that your business may be able to claim back. You can upload your company logo so it will appear on your method statement, and you can contact us directly on WhatsApp if your device supports WhatsApp, if you get any support issues. The app is been designed specifically so you can use it on the go and see a reflection of what's going on in your business on the go. So you can use the iPad if you like, or you can just use the iPhone, and as you're updating information on one device, the other device will be automatically updated. So right now, I'll just switch across to the iPhone. You can see that we've got the same employees. In fact, just now we'll just add an employee and you can see that employee will be added, and shown on your iPhone device too. So if we just add a new employee quickly, we'll call her Nancy. Nancy Jones. We won't fill in any other information just now. It's just purely, you can add a picture of Nancy if you wanted, but we won't do that just now. Or will we? Maybe we will try and add a picture of Nancy. Let's just see, this is Nancy here. So there you go, there's Nancy being added on. What job is Nancy? We'll make her sales. And we'll just say, for instance, our hourly rate would be £55 an hour. Nancy's been added on, and when we cross over to the iPhone, you'll see that the same data that we've just added on the iPad is showing on our iPhone too. So as you can see on your screen now, we've swapped over to our iPhone, and we previously added Nancy in our sales team on the iPad. So you can see now on the iPhone, it's just a slightly different menu, but it's just as intuitive as the iPad. So under employees now, if we scroll down, we can see that Nancy has indeed been added, and we can see that all the details we previously added on are now saved, and they can be accessed on any of our devices. So we didn't say how many holidays Nancy was due a year, so let's just say that she's due 28 days. That obviously could change employee to employee depending on the length of service. Contract details. On the iPad, we added a new project, which was the plant room project, where we did add some to-dos as well. So you can see that these same to-dos are now available for us to see on the iPad and whether we on the iPhone. And if we add new tasks on the iPhone, like I say, it'll be shown across all devices, and we can go in and check health and safety. We created a quick risk assessment, which we can view. We did create, so we can go in and quickly edit it. We could add different procedures to the method statement here if we wanted. Let's just say we want to clean and tidy the site location. We can add that in. So now we can see that the method statement's been updated if we want to save it again and send a new method statement to our customer. And we can also see the previous risk assessment and all of the things that you can see listed in the risk assessment are fully editable when you're creating a risk assessment. So you can make sure it's the risks in the job are as you're actually seeing on site, and you can make sure that what you're doing in order to reduce the risks of the job are carefully recorded on your risk assessment, and just edit that and update it as required. Hopefully you found that introduction to Trade Insight helpful. As if you want new features added, let me know and we'll do so. And hopefully it's a tool that you're going to find useful. in your own business to control your own business activities and get to know more information about your business, what's working in your business, what's maybe not working so well, what practices are you doing that you could make more efficient. Thanks for listening, and yeah, download it now in the App Store and give it a whirl. Subscribe if you want to get more content and find out what we're doing in order to improve the app and making it a better app and more useful in our day-to-day business. Thank you. Goodbye.